This video demonstrates 4 ways to minimize or eliminate the jog that occurs when knitting different color stripes in the round. When knitting stripes in the round, you need to realize that when you're knitting in the round, you're actually knitting a spiral. If you look here, here's where I started my color change, and I've knit around, and I'm up here, and I've made another color change. And if you notice, I have a jog here and here, and that's because this is the end of the row after my color change. So I've got kind of a stair step, or what we call a jog. There are several methods for addressing this issue and making that less visible, and that's the purpose of today's video. I'm using the two circulars method to knit in the round in this particular sample, and I'm at the point where I'm going to do my next color change, and I'm going to change to this blue yarn. And the first method, you simply start knitting with your new yarn and you knit one round. So I will do that and pause here and pick it up when I get to the end of the round. I'm almost to the end of the round. I have my end of round marked here with a stitch marker, and I'm going to knit up to that marker. And this first method is the slip stitch method. You remove the marker, you slip the next stitch as if to purl, put your marker back, and continue knitting with your new color. I'll get to the end of the round and we'll show you what that looks like. So I'll be back shortly. So here we are, we're coming up to the end of the round and we've moved our stitch marker over, so we've moved the end of the round, or the beginning of the round, to the left. And that happens every time you do this particular method of addressing the stripe. So at this point, I'm going to knit that slip stitch and just continue knitting. And when I get to the end of this needle, I will show you what this looks like. So here we are, and you'll notice that there isn't a visible jog. There's a little bit, you'll need to do a little bit of adjusting of tension on the stitches by pulling on the yarn, but you can see that there is clearly this looks better than this. And this is the slip. This is the first method for dealing with a jog on a stripe. From here, you just continue knitting in your new color until you're ready to do your next color change. The second method for avoiding jogs when you're changing colors is to do the Yarnover method. And the Yarnover method, at the end of the round, you slip the last stitch from the right needle to the left needle after you've knit it, and then you make a loop with your new color and slip that stitch back onto the needle and then begin knitting. And this just anchors the yarn, and then you just begin knitting the round. I'm going to pause here and I will show you what to do when you get to the end of the round. If you hold your yarn in the left hand, tension your yarn in the left hand, what you're going to do is you're going to slip your yarn just as you would before, slip your stitch, pick up your yarn and continue knitting around. And I'm now coming up on my stitch with the yarn over at the end of the round. And all you do is you knit those 2 stitches together. Now it's going to be a little loose because of the yarn tail, and you just tighten those up by pulling on the yarn tables and adjusting the tension. And then you just continue knitting in the round. And there's where our yarn over was, and it's just going to lay very nicely. And here you can see where the 2 yarn overs were done. Here's the first color change, and here's the second, and there is no jog. So that's the yarn over method. The third method for avoiding jogs when you're changing colors and stripes is to do either a knit 1 below or a lift, slip, knit 2 together. And to do this method, you just simply start knitting at the beginning of the round with your new color. And then when you get back to the beginning of the round with the new color, you either do a knit 1 below, which is done by just simply slipping into this stitch and then knitting through it. That's a typical knit 1 below. Now some folks find that, some knitters find that a little bit hard to do because of this yarn tail back here. And so the other way to accomplish that is to lift the leg of the stitch below up onto the needle and then knit the 2 stitches together. Now this then becomes the end of your round, and the beginning of the round starts here. So you need to move your marker over 1 stitch, and then you just continue knitting until the next color change. The fourth method for avoiding jogs when you're knitting different colored stripes is the double stitch and then either an SSK or a slip knit pass method. And to do this, you knit to the last stitch of the round and you wrap your stitch in your current color, and then also with the new color, and knit with both strands of yarn. Slip your marker and then continue knitting with the new strand of yarn. And I'll show you what to do at the end of the round with the double stitch after a pause. When you come to the double stitch, you want to do a slip, and these are a little loose because you've got 2 loose threads here. You can tighten them up after you do this, and knit with the new color, hold that down tight. So the new color is now over the old color. And continue knitting in the new color. So repeating how to do the end of the round for the double stitch and how to handle the double stitch. You can do either an SSK as I demonstrated earlier, or you can do a slip, knit, and then slip, and then pass that stitch over. And you'll need to adjust your tension carefully so that the new color is laying under the old color. And then you slip the first stitch and move your end of round marker. So you're moving your beginning of your round over one, and then continue knitting. And that's how you do the fourth method of using a double stitch with an SSK or an SSP to eliminate the jog. This video is part of my Learn to Knit series of tutorials. If you found this video educational and helpful, please subscribe to my channel where you will find my Learn to Knit playlist, which covers the basic techniques new knitters need to learn.